Hello, my name is Poopy Twitchy Luke, or just Poopy, or just Luke, depending how you feel. I usually am here just streaming games over on my Twitch, or showing you those streams in an edited down format here on the YouTube, but this is a YouTube exclusive, and it's something I haven't done before. But I thought, why not put your neck on the line for a bit of fun? It's Premier League predictions. Today, the new Premier League season is upon us, and it's all going off. So, I have predicted a table, and we're going to walk through it a bit now. If you care about my predictions, thank you. And if you don't, well, you've seen this, so still thank you for watching. The caveat, of course, is that the transfer window is still open for a few weeks, so there's still things that can happen, still things that can change, and I am not a specialist analyst or anything like that. I'm just a guy who likes the football. Sounded like I was making it up there, didn't it? I play Football Manager as well, so I'm a nerd, maybe, for it. Love it. So, just over here, the table will be revealed place by place from 20th upwards. We're going to talk through them as quickly as possible, as succinctly as possible. Let's get into it. So, in 20th place, we have everybody's favourite, probably to finish 20th. It's Hull City. Not a lot needs to really be said about this. I am sorry to Hull fans. I mean, it's lovely to have you in the league, honestly. But I watched the playoff final last season in the Championship, and it didn't fill me with confidence. Obviously, it's a huge moment. It was a great win. Good to see them back in the Premier League. But I think that if Southampton weren't a bunch of cheating bastards, then they might well have been there instead. But they were, so that's just a hypothetical. As for Hull, they don't have quite the quality in the squad, in my opinion, to stay up. There's a few signings that are good. They look more like signings for a season after which in the Championship again. But you do need these seasons where you just make it to the Premier League, you get the exposure again, you get the money again, and then you can start yo-yoing until you catapult yourself in. So, for now, 20th. Just don't get embarrassed. Right, I should have added another caveat, and that is that some of these predictions, I've really put my neck on the line and taken some risks in my predictions. I will explain my reasoning as we go on, and there will be some similar reasonings in a lot of places. But it is a season with, I think it's 12 new managers in total in the league in general, so it's a very hard one to predict. Saying that, in 19th, I have gone for a team that has the same manager as last season in Leeds. Now, this may seem very stupid, and yeah, I could see why it might not make a lot of sense considering what they did last season to survive quite comfortably in the end. They have brought in a couple of players in the likes of James Trafford, who is a really good signing for them. Will win them points on his own if he gets the game time, but you know, he's going to have to get started again. He didn't have any real, apart from cup games, first team football last season for Manchester City. They've also brought in Harry Wilson, who does score crucial goals, mainly absolute screamers. So, yeah, you could see there might be a bit of a, what's he done there for? But I just think Daniel Farke deserves a lot of credit for what he did, changing systems to reinvigorate Leeds halfway through last season to keep them in the league. But I do feel that he will try and go back to the football that he wants to play. and they haven't strengthened enough outside of those previously mentioned signings, it could be a very difficult season for them. And on top of Barca doing very well in changing the system to reinvigorate them, I also think they were helped by the fact that there were enough teams worse than them, especially in the second half of the season, that they were able to finish quite comfortably in the end. Sorry, Leeds. Again, I'm not an expert. This could be completely wrong. Next, moving up to 18th. Now, I said I had taken a few risks and in these predictions, and I have. Because I've only got one promoted side going back down. That's right, in 18th, I've got Fulham. They've been in the Premier League for a long time. Granted, I'll give them that. It's good. They've done some good stuff. They're usually just relatively consistent. But I think a lot of it was Marco Silva doing very well. I think he's a very good manager, especially he was always keeping them consistently sort of mid to lower mid-table, which in the Premier League is a success with a team like Fulham. And there is some quality in the squad. Like, again, I could be completely wrong. This is the one that one of the ones that I'm least confident in because of the quality that could definitely shine through. Like if the likes of Iwobi, Smith Rowe, Kevin, Anthony Robertson, and some of the new signings really like shine for a long period of time, then they could exceed everybody's expectations. But Arbeloa, by all accounts, he was good at Real Madrid. It's a very different job to Fulham, and he's not like hugely proven. He's not had many jobs. Maybe too much too soon. I don't know, but I just feel like looking at their pre-season results, they only played 3 pre-season friendlies up until the time of recording. The 18th of August is when this was recorded, by the way. So the Tuesday, just before the Premier League starts. And they only won one of those friendlies against Stuttgart at home. 1-0. And the signings, again, they've lost the likes of Sasha Lukic. Not an amazing player, but a good squad player to bring in. Issa Diop, not a great player, but a good squad option at the centre-back. Raul Jimenez was aging, but scored important goals when he needed to. Harry Wilson, as we just mentioned for Leeds, he's left and he scored some big goals for them at important times. So they've lost a lot of really good players, and they brought in two young Real Madrid players, Gonzalo Garcia and Cesar Palacios. Unproven. They look very technical. Yona Kusi Acer from Bayern Munich was made a permanent signing. He was on loan last season. Another youngster, Shea Charles, a good Southampton player, play at the base of midfield. Again, they're good signings, but only 4. Again, there is the caveat that the window is still open. They might be able to have a look in the opening few games at where else they need strengthening and maybe go out and spend that money, but I don't know. It's just maybe Arbeloa's, with the signs that he's made, he's indicating he wants to go more like technical than physical, and maybe that is the wrong thing to do when you're often at the lower end of the table. Maybe you need a bit more physicality to mix in with the technicality. And I think that I'm going to say a few times, I'm not convinced by their defence, especially the centre-backs, and the limited options they seem to have there. As far as I can see, they've got Bassi and Joachim Andersen and Cuenca as centre-back options. No, that's it. That's all it says here. I'm looking at Transfer Market. 3 options at the back. I think they need a bit more. I'm worried for them. But we'll see how it goes. Now getting out of the relegation zone, but only just. Now, this is one that I think is going to be very tight in terms of will they, won't they get relegated all season. But I have Coventry City hit to just about survive in 17th place. Seems a bit weird, seems a bit strange. My reasons are that Frank Lampard has got managerial experience in the Premier League. He is a manager who has taken this team up. So he knows the players. He knows the club, as pundits love to say. And they brought in a few good signings as well as keeping the core of the squad that did a lot right in a lot of different areas to get to this point. To get to the Premier League, basically. The likes of Taiwo Awoniyi, I think he's actually a bit of an underrated striker, has a lot of injury issues, sure, but can do very good things. And Frank Onyenka, also good. Gustavo Hamer from Sheffield United. There's a few good signings to bolster. I do think it will be very tight for them to survive, but I'm tipping them just about to get over the line, keep that place, just on the basis of good solid core, few extra reinforcements brought in, consistent manager. And it's that consistent manager. That's one of the things I said I'm going to mention a lot. Somebody who's been at the club and is still progressing with their ideas on the pitch and progressing with the same ideas of the club off the pitch. We'll get into that more as we go through these predictions. Next up, in 16th, and I'm more confident in this one. 16th, I've got Ipswich. I'm actually thinking this might be a bit low for them, and hear me out on this, okay? They are the most similar, especially in terms of signings and the squad they're building, to what Sunderland did last season coming to the league. They've signed a lot of players, a lot of it looks very smart business as well, and with them being the team that has recently been in the Premier League as well, they have been on that yo-yo where they've been in previously, got a bit of experience, learned some lessons, got the money, gone back, and then come back up again now with that fresh, renewed perspective, that extra funds, that extra fire in the belly. And yeah, like I mentioned, the signings, you're looking at the likes of Julio Enciso, Emerson, Atuwu, Florentino Luis from Burnley, Faison Maeda, Sasha Lukic, Isa Diop, Chupa Akpom. It's quite a number of players, and you're not going to say any of them are like world beaters currently, but they're all good technical players and especially hard-working physical players who will put a shift in every day and find themselves in good positions, especially the likes of Daizan Maeda. I think he could have a really good season in the Premier League, just by the way of pressing and finding himself in the best positions to get vital goals. So Ipswich, I think you'll do quite well. I think, yeah, 16th is kind of a lower point that I would put you, but you know, I'm still playing it a bit safe. So 16th for now. Okay, let's move up to 15th place, where I have a club or a side I just mentioned. It's Sunderland down in 15th. I think the second half of last season, discounting the derby they played. Sorry for bringing it up, Newcastle fans. I think the fairy tale sort of started coming a bit to an end. You could see them tiring. You could see them losing their results a little bit. They did enough to get into European football, and that's to their credit. But I do think that will also be a bit of a detriment, having that extra game. They haven't done as much business, and you can understand that. They brought in so many players last season. They were never going to be able to do that amount of business again. Well, maybe they could. I don't know. I just think they'll survive. Only just. European football will take its toll. And, I mean, that's to be expected, honestly. If they can get themselves to a point of relative safety in the league and put all their focus onto European football, you can't blame them. Any club in that position would do the same thing, really. And go for European football the next season by winning European football in this season. It's as simple as that, guys. But yeah, in the league, I think they will suffer for all the things I mentioned. Let's move on quickly. Into 14th we go, and up here is Everton. You may think this is a bit low. Again, it's another one of the sides that have kept their manager and continued as they were, in a sense. But in this team, I think that is more okay than anything like outstanding. I think some of the signings they've done have been good. Hayden Hackney looks like a really good young player. Can he make the step up? Can he stay free of injuries? Christian Norgard didn't play a lot last season for Arsenal and will be a good signing, especially for squad depth. The swap of Dwight McNeil and Brennan Johnson seems like a sideways move for both. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe. I think I would personally... Well, if you could get Dwight McNeil at the age of Brennan Johnson, then you'd take that. But I think maybe Dwight McNeil might suit Everton more, unless I'm completely wrong and they can get the best out of Brennan Johnson. Hopefully for their sake they can. It's in there somewhere, and one day we'd like to see it, or for Cymru at least, the international side as well. But they have lost some very experienced heads as well, in the likes of Coleman and Idrissa Gueye. They've gone, and last season they had Jack Grealish in on loan. I think he helped massively have an extra element to Everton for the first half of the season. Second half of the season, he was a bit maybe sedated by injuries and things like that. So I don't think this is harsh on Everton. I hope it isn't. I hope it doesn't sound harsh. That's what I'm trying to say. But I could see them being just fine, but other teams who they finished above last season maybe doing a slightly better than them this season. Like, the Premier League is so different from one season to the next. They could finish on the exact same points as they did last season and finish 5 or 6 places lower, which is basically what I've got them doing. I think they'll be fine, just not progressing a huge amount. It's a slow build project. Will David Moyes be able to take them all the way through that slow build? Next we move into 13th place, where we will find Nottingham Forest. Now you may think that's a bit low, and I would tend to agree with you if it were not for the Marinakis factor. Alright? Obviously they got Glasner in, that's great. They've still got good quality players that they had from last season, like Morgan Gibbs-White. Somebody check on him, is he okay? And they brought in a really, really good centre-back in Ousmane Diamonde from Sporting, yes. I signed him on Football Manager save. I didn't stream or record once. Many times. I'm sure everybody has. He's a great player on Football Manager at least, and I think he looked very good in the Champions League last season for Sporting, so they've clearly got some pulling power, and rightfully so. But I put them this low because as much as I think they've got a really good squad and a good manager in Glasner and good quality and good signings, and I'm sure there's more signings to come because they've sold Elliot Anderson for £116 million. It's just such a basket case of a club that I'm sure Marinakis will go through another manager or two this season and they'll just sort of stabilise out to mid-table for some reason. And for that reason I put them 13th. And I probably won't put them too much higher unless, you know, the Marinakis factor is gone. Well, alright then, let's go up to 12th place where we find Crystal Palace in their customary 12th place, where they haven't been for a little while now. So why have I put them back there? It's quite simple. They won the Conference League, so they're in the Europa League. It's a step up in European competition, and I hope they just, in the league, find themselves back in 12th, where they love to be, or higher. I wouldn't mind seeing them higher. but then they can really focus on the Europa League. And I think they will. I do believe they have a very good squad. Obviously, they have lost Lacroix, and halfway through last season, they lost to Mark Gahey. So that could be a factor, although you got to say, Hanvo stepped up to be really good. They got Chris Richards, American soccer's best centre back, Chris Richards, and they brought in Tomiyasu, who will put his whole everything. He'll put his whole into every game. He will probably get injured for doing it, but he will put everything into every game he plays for Crystal Palace, and I'm excited for him. I think they'll be good, but they'll probably focus more on the Europa League. Otherwise, they've still got a very good squad. They've managed to keep most of their players that got them to this point so far. New manager as well, so that's to be considered. How will he adapt to the league? Not sure. They'll probably do alright in the Europa League. That's my opinion. If you didn't have enough of a reality check in the past couple of seasons, you're about to from me. What do we think of Tottenham 11th and shit, etc. Now you may be looking at this thinking, whoa, they've spent so much money. They've reinvented key areas of their team. What are you talking about, Poopy? Or Luke? I don't know what to call you. This is the first video I've watched of yours. Who even are you? Why am I watching? Stop asking all the questions. I'm going to explain. Ready? They're not gonna come 17th again. I'd be funny if they did. I would love it if they did. I think they do have to have a bit of credit for bringing in the players they have, spending the money that they have. Clearly, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is paying off with all the revenue it brings in from gigs and things like that. Just original naming as well, really good. But you know, it's going to take a little while, at least, to bed in all the new signings. When you're reinventing half of your starting 11, that doesn't happen overnight. I know they've played all these pre-season friendlies, but you know, you can't really get a full grasp on what you're doing through that a lot of the time. The other factor is, as much as all these new signings make sense for a De Zerbi system, and I think he's a good manager, I also think he's a spiky little prick. No offense if you're watching, Roberto. But the record in the past, especially most recently with Marseille, who are also another one of those basket case sort of clubs, but, you know, De Zerbi is a spiky character. And so with all the money, like this amount of money, I don't even think Tottenham... Well, the season after Pochettino got Tottenham to the Champions League final, he got nothing. This amount of money for a Tottenham manager is totally new. So if the results don't come this season, then there will be pressure, and then I think the spikiness might show itself. And, well, a spoiler for next season, the predictions, I think then he will get super spiky and it will all end in a massive Mourinho-style blowout. Maybe he'll even follow Mourinho's path and end up at Real Madrid or something. I don't know. Who knows what could happen? But I'm predicting it, so I should at least have some sort of grasp on the knowledge of what's about to happen. I'm just rambling at this point. 11th for Tottenham, and be happy with that. You'll get some good results. That's my prediction. You'll get some good big results and finish 11th. And it'll get spiky. Like De Zerbi's hair. I can't possibly be a racist. One of my best friends is a Newcastle fan. They're in 10th. That was a bit. I'm sorry if it looked like I was about to say something really reformy. But no, Newcastle in 10th. Yeah. Look, let's start with a positive. I've got you above Sunderland by 5 places. That's great. That's amazing. Let's move on to everything else, though. It's a huge season of upheaval for the club. The talking points coming out the back of Newcastle, out the back door, is that Eddie Howe wanted to leave at the end of the previous season, and at the end of this season he hung around for a bit more and then said, no, I really want to leave. And why they talked him into staying when he was spent. You could sort of see towards the end of the season he was spent. Poor guy. And he gave Newcastle United fans some of the best memories, certainly since, like, Heggie. He's obviously delivered them a trophy at Newcastle, so he'll go down as a very favoured person in the club's history, if just for that. And hopefully they can use it as a launching pad. But I think this season will be a season of transition for the whole side. They've lost big players. Obviously, Trippier's left. Gordon's gone to Barcelona. He wasn't at his best for periods of last season. And Tonali's left to go to Tottenham because for some reason, I can't really explain it. And they're more angry at Bruno Guimaraes, who's left for Arsenal. Obviously, he's a captain, so that's got to factor into it, why they're more angry about it. I would personally, if I was a Newcastle fan, be a bit more angry at Tonali, because why is he leaving to go to a club that finished 17th? What's he up to? Anyway, that is bias speaking, because Arsenal fan. But, yeah. Huge players have left there. They brought in... They're clearly going for a youth-focused sort of thing, going forward with lesser-known names for, admittedly, quite big money overall, and a lesser-known manager. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on him, but from what I understand, product of the Red Bull system as a manager, so very well-versed in gegenpressing and that sort of style of play, but also quite adaptable, more so than some other Red Bull coaches, if you will. That's what I understand about him. I think he'll do well. I think hopefully he will ingratiate himself onto the Geordie faithful, and he'll get some good results this season. I mean, 10th for a transition season, bedding in new players, new young players, finding the next superstars for the next few years, the next few seasons, while also getting a win home and away wins over Sunderland would be like a really good season for Newcastle. Maybe even go far in a cup. Who knows? He could. I just think this is only about the league. In the league, it will be transitionary. There'll be peaks and troughs throughout the entire season for them, I think. And 10th is a fair reflection. I think there will be 9 teams better than them overall, and 9 teams worse than them overall. Sorry, Newcastle fans. It's just what I think. We don't know until it's all over. That's months away. It's next year. Up into 9th we go. It's Brighton. They're just Brighton. I don't really know what to say about them. They've obviously lost a few players. They've managed to, this season, scam Chelsea for not a youngster, but a Danny Welbeck. It's not a scam. Danny Welbeck's a very good player. I would admit that. But how are you getting money for a 34, 35-year-old? Sure, he scores good goals, crucial goals. He's a good finisher. Always has been. And always will be. But it's just because it's another Brighton to Chelsea move. And this time it's not even a highly rated 20-year-old that's been in the Premier League for a season. Speaking of which one of these do you think will be the Brighton youngster who people haven't really heard of before, who will make themselves known? Obviously, Vuskovic and Struijk have come in from Tottenham and Leeds respectively, but Zadok Johanna from AIK, I think that's the Swedish side, Costina from Olympiacos, Svoboda from Venezia, Rodrigo Rego from Benfica. Who will it be? Who knows? I think for like a Brighton, 9th is good. It may not look like progress, but for a side like Brighton, consistently finishing in the top half of the table is always progress. Because it means you're bringing in young players, you're selling them on, and you're keeping consistently in that top half. Not a lot more to say about Brighton, to be honest. 9th. Right, we're moving into the top 8 now. So the big, juicy end of the table. And things are about to get a little wacky and wild if you didn't think they have done already. 8th place. Chelsea. Hear me out. They've made some good signings. The likes of Rodgers, good. McCoy, good. I understand why they brought in a Welbeck and a Henderson. Experience. A lot of the players they've had there in their humongous squad of like 50-odd players, which is stupid. Really stupid. But a lot of them were just young players who were lacking a direction or somebody to direct them. So those players coming in is good. However, actually, let's go with the positives a bit more. Or Chelsea, which I don't want to do, but, you know, I'm trying to give credit. I pretended to throw up at Tottenham a bit, so we've got that out of our systems for now. There'll be more later on. Chelsea, if they can build their attack going forward around João Gomez, Cole Palmer, and Morgan Rogers, that front three can be like something to base your entire attack around going forward for a few seasons. With Welbeck coming in and out of the team. Midfield-wise, I think it looks like Enzo Fernandez, that saga's going to rumble on. If he stays around, the midfield of Caicedo and Fernandez, that's another thing to sort of base it around. The problem comes at the back. Now, Reece James, really good right back. Can he stay fit for a whole season? I mean, I hope so from an England fan perspective, but I mean, there's no international football for the men at the end of this season coming up, so I mean, also as a human being, I hope he can do that because he is a really good player. They've lost Cucurella to Real Madrid, who, as much as he seemed like a bit of a... That's just based on nothing, but so ignore that. He was a really good player and something that is very exciting in modern football, which is a very floaty sort of fullback. What a Calafiori does for Arsenal. What a Lewis Hall sometimes does for Newcastle when he's fit. I should mention that in the Newcastle bit. They have similar problems at the back, I think. Hopefully they can repair that as well. But anyway, Chelsea. The centre-backs, they brought in Lacroix and they've got Levi Colwill. If those two can stay fit and get on some good form, that's a good centre-back pairing. But beneath that, Wesley Fofana has never really fulfilled his promise that he showed when he came from Leicester. Adebayo looked good at parts. Adiashile, again, never really fulfilled his promise. And then a step back from that, Robert Sanchez. I'm not convinced by the defence and the goalkeeping at Chelsea, and I think that may be their undoing. Also, I am relatively excited to see what Xabi Alonso can bring to the Premier League. Obviously, you've got two very different sort of outcomes based on his previous roles so far. Amazing undefeated league season for Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga, winning that, great. And then you've got the Real Madrid. I know they're a basket case of a club, but could never really get his ideas over to the players, had the wrong sort of players maybe. Which one are we going to get here, and will he be able to build a backline that can perform consistently? If he can, then Chelsea will probably be a lot higher than this, but I'm not convinced by it. So, 8th. Deal with it. Right, let's move into 7th. Who have I got in the basically confirmed European places? The lowest ones, of course, they all change all the time based on other competitions and everything, but it doesn't matter. This is this. I've got Bournemouth in 7th. Another good season for Bournemouth, in my opinion. And I know, a new manager, Marco Rose. The bane of every football manager's... Like, if you play Football Manager and you end up in one of the big 5 leagues in Europe, on the men's side, Marco Rose will be the bane of your existence because he will follow you around, take over a club, do really well with them. But I think he could probably do quite well with Bournemouth. And to add on to that, in terms of their team, they haven't really lost anybody huge. Like, they've kept players the likes of Poopy, Evan Nielsen, Clivert, Tavernier, Cooks, Alex Scott, Ryan, who I think was a really good sort of replacement for Semenyo. They clearly had their eyes on him, just in case anybody came in for Semenyo, and it's easily worked out already. So far, obviously there's still time in the transfer window, they've managed to keep these players. And they've actually brought in reinforcements in the likes of Antonio Silva, another Football Manager legend at centre-back, and Alvaro Rodriguez, another striker, and it says Juan Luis Sanchez from Sevilla. He appears to be a right-back. That was because the other right-back was a nonce. Yes, that's right. They brought in a replacement for the noncy one. Good. Bournemouth in 7th. That's where I'm seeing them. Right then, another pick that will upset a fan base. You ready for it? 6th. Liverpool. Wow then. Reason this, big boy? I will. Thank you for asking. Iraola is a good manager. A very good manager. And I do believe, in a couple of seasons, given the right support by the board and everybody, he will have this team challenging for the title again in a couple of seasons. But right now, it's the transition, right in the dip of the transition from Klopp still. I think the Arne Slot title win in his first season papered over the cracks that it was the start of a transition, because he basically just kept the sort of same most things that Klopp was doing, the side that Klopp had built together, and just sort of slightly tweaked a few things here and there. The second season he tweaked even more to try and build his side, and it didn't work, and now he's gone. Iraola, I think, is the right man to take Liverpool forward, and he will do well given time. But Benate has left. Salah has left. Robertson has left. 3 huge players that have been vital over the years, apart from maybe Konate. And they already had issues at the back. They brought in a few options to sort of help out. Jeremy Jacquet, I believe, was a deal that was agreed halfway through last season for this season. So they clearly got something that they think is a really good centre-back going forward there. They brought in Ronald Araujo on loan from Barcelona. Will it work out? He's been, I think, hit and miss at Barcelona, and they brought in Victor Munoz at a left-back. So they are clearly trying to focus on that area. I just feel they need to probably focus even more, which is why I say this is a transitionary period, because as well as replacing all those players that have left, they also have to look at who's next to be replaced, and probably going to be looking at a Virgil van Dijk replacement sooner rather than later. And also they probably need to bring in another right back, because then you can maybe push Frimpong forward a little bit. I know he's good coming from that deep position as a right wing back and flying forward, but that depends on the system that's being played as well. So they need to do what they're doing with the goalkeeper, where they've got Alisson and Mamardashvili. They've clearly got like a progression plan there for when Alisson leaves. Mamardashvili just steps up like he has been doing already a lot of the time. And then they also need to look at potentially a right winger to replace Mohamed Salah, which is an impossible task. But on the plus side, I can see going forward, I could see them doing a lot better this season, especially the players that didn't quite get to the levels last season. The likes of Isak could potentially try and find his feet again, hopefully avoid injuries and get into some good form. I think Florian Wirtz can start to come good. He looked for patches in the second half of last season like he was finding something resembling form and looking slightly better. But he needs to continue that. I have them at 6th because they are in the middle of the transition and their defence still needs a bit of work. I've got them obviously 2 places higher than Chelsea because their goalkeeper, like I said, they got the progression plan. So, we will see based on that. But like I said at the start of this bit, Iraola is going to be, in my opinion, the right man to take them forward. In a couple or 2 or 3 seasons, he'll be right back up there challenging for the title, just not immediately. Alright? Forgive me? Thank you. Alright, are you ready for another big call? If you know, then you know there's only 5 teams left. And you're probably keeping an eye on who I haven't put in the table yet. And one of the most surprising that I haven't put anywhere around here is probably this team in 5th. Brentford! Last season, I did see a few predictions saying they might be in trouble. They brought in the set-piece coach with no manager experience, but he did well, and they've kept him on. That consistency on the pitch, it's progressing again. I think this could be a very high point season for Brentford. That's why I've got them 5th, obviously. They've not lost a huge amount of key players, not really any. I mean, they've lost Jordan Henderson on Yanka, as we discussed earlier, but nobody outstanding, and they brought in some extra options. Callum Wilson, who does score important goals, especially off the bench in this sort of period of his career. He showed for West Ham in the last season. He's very good at coming off the bench and scoring crucial goals when it matters. Speaking about strikers, this 5th place pick depends a lot on Igor Thiago doing what he did last season and scoring a lot of goals. Right? Okay, got that out of the way. Hopefully it works out for him. But Callum Wilson is now there as well to help out and chip in with some goals. Good stuff. They've also got a Jadon Anthony. Looks okay. Yannick Schuster from Salzburg. I don't know much about him, I'll be honest. But Mamadou Sengare from Lens. That's an exciting pickup. I think it's another season of progression, another season of consistency on the field and off the field in what the manager or the coach wants to do and what the club are trying to do as well. That is one of the things that I noted influenced a lot of my decisions at the start of this. Here it is again. Wahoo! Oh, here we go. We're into the top 4, and I'm going to say before we even get into the top 4, I believe this top 4 will be tight. All 4 of these teams will be in and amongst it all season, is my prediction. But for 4th, the lesser of these title chasers, it's contentious. Get ready. Are you ready? Manchester City. So, they are losing Rodri. That's a huge factor. They've lost Nathan Ake as an option. sure they've brought in some decent players again. You got Amonga and Elliot Anderson. I believe Elliot Anderson will be a good fit for the team, but it's about taking that time to bed him in. And he's also a good fit while not being Rodri, which is not his fault, but he's not Rodri. They've also lost Bernardo Silva, another huge player. John Stones, a good squad option they had. Ooh. The main thing, though, Enzo Maresca is a good manager, but he's not Pep Guardiola. That's the big thing for me. And over a good few seasons now, Man City, they've sort of done the same thing. They have a bit of a slow start where they still hang around in the top four, bit of a slow start, and then the second half of the season, bang, they're off. They're running. And they're ending up in some ridiculous points total. Can Enzo Maresca repeat that? I don't know. It may be because Pep Guardiola is more of a football pervert in the nicest way possible. He has a plan for every individual team, every individual season. He knows what they're doing. He knows how to play against them. As you saw in the Carabao Cup final last season against Arsenal, he went into that game with the plan saying, oh, they're going to try and pass out from the back. Put four, press the back line, let them play it long. We'll just go back at them again, over and over again until it works, and it did. I don't know. Maresca's not Pep. That's basically it. They've still got amazing players. Haaland will probably still win the Golden Boot. But to lose Rodri, Bernardo Silva, and Pep, it's no mean feat. They're not as adaptable, I don't think. Especially not Maresca. He's not quite as adaptable as Pep, and he's not Pep. He may be bold and look a bit like him, but he's not Pep. Ready for the top three, are we? I should hope so. Third place, I've got Manchester United. Honestly, third and second, I could change them time and time again, and I would be happy with third and second either way, but I've gone with Man United in third. I was born in 1994. I watched my beloved Arsenal during the Invincibles and all through the 2000s. I went through the pain of Manchester United being a dominant side, and I am afraid they might be on the road back. I do believe they will be in and around a title challenge this season. Reason for this is Carrick came in January. He had little time to put his ideas onto the players, but what he did was just do the basics right in terms of what he had available. Let's move Bruno Fernandes forward in behind the striker where he's most useful and get all the assists out of him. Let's get Seshko back in the team so he can play his way into form. Oh, he started scoring again. Let's get Mbeumo and Cunha to start coming inside. We've got really good options out wide. Let's make sure we get the ball forward to the wide positions and start creating triangles out on the wings to just progress through that final line. They were good, and it's annoying, and I hate it. But I think they're going to continue. And now, you know, they've got the added thing of Andre Santos and Tielemans coming into the side. Two more options in the midfield who are very good at progressing the ball and line-breaking passes. Especially Yuri Tielemans. He has been a consistent game winner through his career. He also has a banging long shot when he fancies it. It's annoying. Marcus Rashford's come back, and he'll probably have the fire in his belly to fight for his place in the team. Amad Diallo has come off a good-ish sort of display at the World Cup. I didn't talk about the World Cup enough with some of these picks, but here we are. So he's got a point to prove. And what I mentioned earlier about having those sort of next sort of generation to progress into the first team, I think Manchester United do have that as well, especially in one of the key areas that I've highlighted a lot, at the back. I think you may look at it and think, oh, like a Dalot, Maguire, Martinez and Luke Shaw back four seems to have been there for about 10 years now, that same back four, but they have the likes of a Lenny Yoro and Aiden Heaven coming through, ready to have their breakout seasons and try and cement themselves in the first team going forward. And like I just mentioned with the midfielders, they've got so many players, it's fucking annoying actually. Kobbie Mainoo still has a point to prove to get himself back in the team. And now with all these midfield options, like Casemiro's set-piece goals, I think were papering over the cracks that his legs weren't quite up to the levels of a Premier League anymore, or a top 5 league in general, so now they've got those midfielders. I think they probably do carry on what they did for the end of last season. Mason Mount's still there as well. Are you ready for your top 2? Now you may have noticed there's only 2 clubs remaining and you probably worked out who those 2 are, which order are they in? Well, now you know. Aston Villa are in second. I've got Aston Villa putting up a genuine title charge, or a title challenge, I should say, and coming in second place in the Premier League this season. It's what I talked about earlier. The progression on the pitch under the same coach and the progression off the pitch with the same sort of ideas that have been pushing the team forward season after season. And Aston Villa are one of the biggest examples of that. They've had the same manager for a good few seasons now, and they've been moving up and up and up, and that last season they won the Europa League. And there was even a point, if you remember last season in December, where they were sniffing around the top 2, top 3. They were in and amongst it, and there was a conversation at that point. And this season, I think they go one step further and actually put themselves in that conversation for the majority of the season. They progressed. Sure, they've lost Morgan Rogers and Yuri Tielemans, but they reinforced well. Mamzambi and João Gomez. Mamzambi had a wonderful display at the World Cup. João Gomez was probably one of the best parts of Wolves last season and is very mobile and has been a big brave boy to make the step across the other side of the line. Helps that Wolves got relegated, so they don't see him unless they play a cup game. They've also brought Garnacho in. I'm not sure about that one. That doesn't make sense to me, but there we are. They have also lost Lucas Digne. That might affect them, and they do this season not just have Europa League football. No, they're in the Champions League now. Could that affect them? Maybe. I still think they are one of the better sides, more consistent, and consistently progressing sides. Second for Aston Villa. And for my Premier League winner with absolutely zero bias, Arsenal. That's right, I've got Arsenal to win the league. It's easy, isn't it? It's just easy. Yeah. Now, look. I know what I look like, and I know what I'm saying. And I know that it's very difficult to defend a Premier League title. Especially for Arsenal, who lasted it in... was it the 1920s or something stupid like that? It's been a while. It's been a while. But I believe we can do it. Because so many new managers. But Arsenal keep the same manager. And the majority of the same team. The only places we haven't kept the same team, we've improved. Zolis looks like a world beater. Bruno Guimaraes looks like a powerfully good addition to the midfield. And Kincampier is here permanently. Melia's even in as the third choice keeper. You may think, that's not a big deal, but he may be even second choice keeper if we can get him above Kepa. Who knows? No offense to Kepa. I know he'll be first choice at like a mid-level Spanish team. So, yeah. Obviously Trossard's gone, Norgard's gone. But did you see the Community Shield? I know people don't really care about the Community Shield, but did you see it? That weight of, oh, just nearly missed out again. It's over. Freedom is starting to flow. Odegaard looked back to his best. Saka looks like he can run again without being in excruciating pain, and hopefully that continues. And he's got aerodynamic cornrows now. So, lovely work. Zolis is a goal and assist machine. Rice might have had a lie down for now, for a few weeks, hopefully. The only caveat is that with the few weeks left in the transfer window, either a Quansah or a Konsa need to come in. Those are the two that are rumoured, and I believe they will be invaluable because I still don't think we know exactly the sort of length and details of the injury to Saliba, but another option in there of a very top quality centre back is vital, and a Konsa or a Quansah is ideal because they can both also fill in at right back where Timber has had injury issues and Ben White is good, and I'm very happy he's stuck around, but has also had occasional injury issues as well. He puts his body on the line though, so that one signing, we didn't give any junior, but it was nice to be involved. Nice to be involved in that conversation. Put our balls on the table and said, all right, we're in it to win it now. And who knows if we can offload Gabriel Jesus, who is a very good player. He's done well for us when he came in. But I think it's time to go, and then we can potentially look at another striker as well. I don't want Gyökeres out. I just want another challenger. Maybe another left winger if Gabriel Martinelli's going, which would sadden me a bit, as would Wanyeri leaving. But, you know, it's all about trying to have the maximum amount of players you can in the squad that all play a good amount. That is maybe something Arteta will hopefully have worked on from the last season and the season before. Actually having good enough quality players in positions that he can rotate without, in his mind, losing everything special. Which is why I think the likes of Rice played so much last season. Now that midfield, we've got Bruno G, we've got Rice, we've got Miles Lewis-Skelly, Zubimendi's fourth choice at this point. And what a good fourth choice he is. It's not bad. All the players played well, if not amazingly, at the World Cup. I'm very hot in this scarf. I'm wearing a scarf as well. I mean, I'm not, no bias. I think Arsenal win the league. I'm sweating now, so I'm going to go away. Let me know what you think of my predictions and pop yours in the comment. Come over and see me play some games on Twitch and follow while you're there. Like and subscribe here. I will review my predictions at the end of the season, when hopefully I'll be tapping this golden lion again. And maybe not sweating as much. Probably still sweating as much. I'm really warm. Maybe I'll be thinner though. Who knows? Bye for now. Love you. Let me know what your predictions are. Bye!